Hey everybody, if you're watching this video, it's probably because you've been invited to be a table coach for this Easter Sunday. The table coaches are going to be encouraging those who will respond to the invitation at the end of each service. So I wanted to kind of orient you to what to expect. On that Sunday, on Easter Sunday, we're going to have a 9 o'clock and an 11 o'clock service. At the end of each service, we're going to give an invitation for people to come to Christ for the first time, and we're going to ask them to come forward to the altar. After I pray a prayer with everyone as a group, they're going to be led by you, or I'm going to ask them to exit the room with the table coaches to the fireside room, where they will sit down at tables and they'll meet you. Now, what's going to happen at that point in the fireside is this is how it's going to flow. Once everyone is in the room that needs to be in the room, you're going to be assigned a table. There may be one or two of you assigned per table, depending on what we get. So just be flexible. But the idea is to be encouraging to folks and to just affirm them and congratulate them. But when everyone's there in the room, in the fireside, John Edmiston will be giving a presentation, a brief sort of reiteration of the gospel from the front of the room to everyone. So everyone's just listening to him talk about the Romans road and what the gospel is, showing them scripture. And once he's done with that, they'll pray another prayer and then kind of reaffirming the decision they've made. And then Pastor Janet Delara will come up, and from the front of the room, she'll explain a little bit more about the materials that are in their bags. Now, everyone's going to have a little gift bag that's given to them. They're different colors. And she's going to explain one by one the materials that are in the bag. So this year we're going to have this book again, Now That You're a Christian. This is a book that has some good material in terms of next steps that a young believer can take, a new believer can take. And then you've got, instead of putting the full Bible in this, we decided to break it down into the Gospel of John. This is both in English and Spanish. These both are in English and Spanish. So the Gospel of John, and then we have just a couple of flyers. So we got our general church flyer. I think we're going to have a sermon series flyer to invite them or to just inform them about the next sermon series. And then we're going to have these two cards, our green prayer request card and comment card, as well as our connection card. Pastor Janet is going to end her talk with the connection card and ask people to fill this card out. And she's going to ask them to at least mark a couple of boxes on the back. The first box, if it applies, is that to indicate that they've become a follower of Jesus. Now, they only mark that little circle that they've become a follower of Jesus if they are rededicating their lives to Christ that day. So there may be Christians that have, given their life to Christ before, but maybe they're rededicating, they want to follow Christ more deeply. They will mark this circle that says, I became a follower of Jesus. Okay? The ones that have received Christ for the first time are going to mark the second circle, which is, I gave my life to Christ today. So those are the two distinctions, and that's just a way for us and for you to tell who you have at your table. They're going to be people that you have mostly first time. It's their first time to come to Christ, and some that are just rededicating their life. So at least you have an idea of who is there with you. After she is done, she's going to hand it off to you, and at your tables you're going to introduce yourselves. You're going to maybe go around the table and ask for everybody's name. You should have a name tag that will be provided for you at the table, so make sure you have your name tag on. And as you introduce yourself, you might want to just say a few words about how excited you are that they have responded to Christ today. You might want to give a very brief, as in like 30 seconds, about how long you've been a Christian and why, what God did in terms of just changing your life. And it may not go into specifics, but just a brief thing about letting them know and affirming them that they've made a very important, positive decision, a step in the right direction that day. Okay, so after that, you want to go ahead and make sure they fill out their connection card, and make sure this is thorough in terms of all their information as much as possible. We want to be able to follow up very quickly with them within like 48 hours. All right, so make sure they fill this out completely. Mark those two boxes. Also, you want to point them to the prayer card if they can go ahead and write out any prayer requests they might have. Also, you might ask them if they have any questions about what was presented, or if they have any questions in general. And there may be questions that you can answer right then and there. There may be other questions that you'll have to refer it to someone else. In those cases, you might want to just say, you know what, it would be great if you can touch base or talk to one of our pastors or one of our elders at the church. You can email our office, or you can write the question on this card. I'll make sure that they get the question. Someone gets the question and will respond back to you. All right? At the end then, after it's all said and done, you want to just pray with the table and pray God's blessing over them. Again, just thank them for the way they've responded to Christ that day, and encourage them to take their next steps, which really are get baptized in water, which we have a baptism scheduled a couple of weeks, I think, or 2 or 3 weeks after this event, after Easter. You want to encourage them to keep coming to church. Okay, you want to encourage them to look into joining a small group, which are on our website or in our bulletins. And you want to encourage them to start reading the Bible, reading the book of John, or if they have a Bible, to get into the Word, to read the Scriptures. And someone will be following up with them this week on some of these matters, okay? Pray with them, and I think then that will be it. Now remember, you don't have a whole lot of time. We don't want to keep them any longer than, I think, maybe 12, 13 minutes, if at the most. We're trying to cut it down to 10 minutes with them. And, you can't keep them that long for a day like this. So, thank you again for serving, and if you have any questions, feel free to call me, call Pastor Janet, or email us, or John Edmiston, Pastor John. Get in touch with us, and we can answer any questions you might have. God bless you, and we'll see you on Easter.